Sawadika, we're so happy you could join us for Newsline. We're broadcasting live on NBT, Radio Thailand FM 88, and also on NBT World. It's a Tuesday, and the date is November 17th, and you're with me, Sandra Hanutsaha. We begin with today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward, and in our first story, Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha announced the opening of an online service center for the public in order to encourage public participation in solving the country's problems. The website aims to provide the public with a way to access all of the government's services and functions and offers a variety of online services from government agencies. The site can be accessed at worldwideweb.govchannel.go.th, where visitors can look at information from other government sites, such as info.go.th, data.go.th, apps.go.th, and egov.go.th. And there are also information updates from over 58 government agencies. Access to the new service is also available in the form of a mobile application called GAC GAC, which is available on iOS and Android smartphones and tablet devices. The service is also made available at government kiosks, such as at the G-Point service centers at Central World Shopping Plaza, Central Festival Salaya, and Radwiti Hospital, and at government smart boxes that will be installed at public areas. Singapore's defense minister has paid a courtesy visit to Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha during his official visit to Thailand. Singaporean Defense Minister Ng Eng Hen met with Prime Minister Prayut at Government House as part of his itinerary during his visit to the country as a guest of Thailand's Defense Ministry. Deputy spokesman of the Prime Minister's office, Major General Wirachon Sukuntapatipak, said that General Prayut has expressed his confidence that Mr. Ng's visit will be an opportunity for both countries to exchange ideas and discuss more ways to promote bilateral cooperation. Mr. Ng also informed the Prime Minister that Singaporean Premier Lee Hsien Loong has sent his regards and his appreciation for General Prayut's participation in the city-state's 50th anniversary. In addition, the two discussed bilateral relations, which have been continuously improved. In terms of military cooperation, Thailand and Singapore have been working closely and have seen the exchange of visits by their military leaders, as well as many joint military drills, he said. The Thai and Japanese governments have affirmed their readiness to ensure tourism safety amid global security threats. Foreign Minister Don Paramatwinai met with his Japanese counterpart, Fumio Kishida, ahead of this year's APEC Economic Leaders meeting in Manila of the Philippines. The two countries affirmed their bilateral ties in terms of both strategic and economic cooperation. Thailand has pledged to safeguard Japanese tourists and entrepreneurs traveling in the country following the Arachaprasong bombing in August and the Paris attacks on Friday. Mr. Kishida expressed his condolences regarding the two terrorist attacks and pledged Japan's cooperation with global anti-terror efforts. The Japanese foreign minister also expressed support for Thailand's ongoing reform process to establish a democracy with transparency, accountability, and legitimacy. The meeting occurred ahead of the APEC Summit, which is an annual conference of 20 member economies in the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. This year, the summit is being held from November 18th to 19th under the theme, Building Inclusive Economies, Building a Better World. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha will be attending the summit which this year aims to foster sustainable economic growth that benefits all parties. The National Reform Steering Assembly, or NRSA, has proposed a three-point plan in reforming anti-corruption policies, as well as the establishment of a specialized judicial court. The NRSA held a general discussion on ways to implement the 11 items on the national reform agenda. On the topic of combating corruption, NRSA member Ramon Sutiwong reminded the Assembly of the country's long-standing problem with it, as well as the country's low rating on various international transparency indexes. He urged the Assembly to make the agenda of combating corruption a major priority and proposed a three-point plan in the country's anti-corruption policy. The approaches consist of instilling a sense of ethics and resilience in society, creating a strong justice system that is transparent and immune to political interference, and encouraging public participation in reform and the justice system. Mr. Plamon also proposed the establishment of a judicial body specifically to handle corruption cases and called for more legislation regarding corruption. The Constitution Drafting Commission, or CDC, will appoint more spokesmen to help with its work while the progress in the review of the new charter continues. CDC spokesman Amon Wanitmiwat said that the charter drafters have continued reviewing the principles of the new charter related to the independent organizations, particularly the National Anti-Corruption Commission. Mr. Amon said that the CDC has agreed to add more power to the National Anti-Corruption Commission, or NACC, to be able to indict any holder of political office and of the positions within any independent organization, as well as state officials who are accused of being unusually wealthy or corrupt. He added that the charter drafters also suggested that the Office of the Auditor General should have more specialists in auditing, accounting, and finance to be more efficient. In addition, the CDC has resolved to appoint 2 more spokesmen to the team, including Udom Rat Amarit and Tachai Na Chiang Mai. The Ministry of Commerce distributed up to 5 million tons of rice in the government's stock this year, and spoiled rice is expected to be auctioned off within this month. Permanent Secretary for Commerce, Chutima Bunyaprapason, said the ministry had carefully distributed 18 million tons of rice in the government stock. The ministry had scheduled the rice distribution so that it would not affect the domestic rice price, the official said. The 5 million tons of rice already distributed were worth more than 50 billion baht. Proceeds have been used to pay the debt caused by the rice pledging scheme. The official expressed her confidence that the ministry would be able to distribute the rest of the rice by the year 2016 as scheduled by the Prime Minister. Quality rice for consumption will be distributed again in March 2016, and inedible rice will be auctioned to the industry sector in late November. The Office of the National Economic and Social Development Board, or NESDB, says the Thai economy in the third quarter is able to expand better and forecasts this year's average growth to be the highest in 3 years. NESDB Deputy Secretary General Parameti Wimonsiri revealed Thailand's economic growth in the third quarter of this year stood at 2.9%, an increase from 2.8% in the previous quarter. The growth is attributed to greater government spending and investment. He believes that this year's average growth is likely to stand at 2.9%, an increase from 0.9% last year, making it the highest expansion rate in 3 years. Factors contributing to the growth include the number of tourists, which is expected to be higher than 30 million this year. In addition, the government's economic stimulus measures should also result in greater household consumption and investment. As for next year's economic growth, the rate is forecast at 3 to 4%, mainly attributed to the government's economic stimulus measures, expansion in the tourism industry, as well as the revival of the global economic situation. These factors would result in a 3% increase in the export sector. However, the NESDB Deputy Secretary General is urging those in the economic sector to keep a close eye on the drought situation and China's economic downturn, as the two factors will impact household consumption and exports. And an academic at Mahidol University has brushed aside claims that a new strain of dengue virus has emerged in Asia. Dr. Suti Yoksan, director of the Center for Vaccine Development of the Institute of Molecular Biosciences at Mahidol University, revealed that vaccines for all 4 strains of dengue have been developed in France. The vaccines have already been tested on 30,000 human subjects, and no negative reactions were detected. They are currently undergoing the registration process and are expected to be used in Thailand for the first time next year. On the other hand, Dr. Suti denied an online report that a new strain of dengue was recently discovered in the Malaysian state of Sarawak. He pointed out that, in fact, the case was found in a monkey 8 years ago, and the virus was of the type that could not be transmitted to humans. That's the end of today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. It's now time for a very quick break, but do stay tuned for more. And first, here's a look at the exchange rates and the commodity prices.
To maintain a strong nation, Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. The second core value, being honest, sacrificing, showing restraint and determinations in doing good for the majority.
Welcome to ASEAN, a community comprised of 10 countries, each with its unique culture and history, now unifying to bring added prosperity to the region. For centuries, each country remained independent, but now we are coming together to compete in the 21st century globalized world. ASEAN is bringing together more than 600 million citizens and a total land area of 4.4 million square kilometers, and is providing economic opportunities, trade, travel, and new educational possibilities. The combined GDP of all 10 ASEAN countries comes to a total of $2.4 trillion, which means the ASEAN entity ranks amongst the world's major economic powers. The future is here. Welcome to ASEAN, the community of opportunities. The Southeast Asia region is now becoming one.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. The Make in India conference, jointly launched by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Thailand, the Royal Thai Embassy in New Delhi, and the Embassy of India in Bangkok, is aimed at encouraging bilateral cooperation between Thailand and India in the areas of business and investment. And Kun Niranut Prajakwanit has the story for us today.
Over 100 business leaders and investors joined in the event in order to promote business-friendly policies and expand manufacturing under the Make in India campaign. Ambassador of India to Thailand, Harsh Vardhan Shringla, talks more about the future direction of cooperation between Thailand and India.
The potential for not incremental but exponential increases in trade and investment ties between India and Thailand exist. And with initiatives like Make in India and the visit of our secretary from the Ministry of Industry, along with the support given by the Minister of Industry of Thailand and the other economic agencies and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I think we'll see a significant increase in economic cooperation, not just trade, but in investment terms. I believe there are about $3 billion worth of potential investments from Thailand to India. And there are also huge potential for Indian companies to invest in Thailand. Many of the Indian companies here want to invest in Thailand. We have a 30-member delegation that has come with the secretary. So we are very, very bullish. We're very happy about the scope for growth in economic cooperation between the two countries.
Amitabh Tent, Secretary of India's Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, explains business opportunities in Thailand.
You know, there's a big opportunity between India and Thailand in industry, in trade, in travel and tourism. I think Thailand is the center for Southeast Asia, and there's a completely new energy and vibrancy in India. India is growing at 7.5%. The rate is accelerating. We'll grow at 9 to 10% per annum. We'd like many Thai companies to invest in India. We'd like many Indian companies. There's a very big contingent of Indian companies which have come here. We would like them to invest in Thailand. So we want this relationship, which is an old and ancient relationship between India and Thailand, and Asia is the heart. Thailand is the heart of Southeast Asia. It is the heart of Greater Mekong region. And we would like Indian companies to set up their bases here and penetrate the Southeast Asian and the Mekong markets. We'd like many Thai companies also to come and invest in India. This has to be a two-way relationship between India and Thailand in all these sectors.
The India government has begun several proactive and innovative initiatives to boost economic growth, improve the ease of doing business, strengthen infrastructure, attract small and medium-sized enterprises, and bring foreign investors to India, in line with the government's goal of accelerating national economic development. I'm Niranut Prajakwanit reporting.
Thank you to Kun Niranut for that report. And the 13th World Film Festival is being held in Bangkok until this Sunday, and all film enthusiasts are invited. The Ministry of Culture, the Nation Multimedia Group, and SF World Cinema are hosting the 13th World Film Festival at SF World Cinema in Central World, which began on the 13th of November and goes on until the 22nd. The festival features more than 60 films from all over the world, from places such as France, Germany, China, Palestine, and the U.S. One of the films, Big Dream, is about intimate stories of 7 young girls who break barriers and overcome their personal challenges and surrounding cultures to pursue their big dreams in science, math, computing, and engineering. Ms. Kelly Cox, the director of Big Dream, made the trip to be at the festival and answered questions from the audience after the screening on the 14th.
I got the inspiration to make Big Dream because I'd heard in America a lot of people talk about the lack of women going into science and technology, and I knew that there were young girls out there who were pursuing that industry, but we weren't sharing their stories. So
She said that she hopes the film will encourage young females to be ambitious and confident in themselves and to accomplish their goals, especially if the young generations want to work in these career fields highlighted in the film. Myanmar's parliament resumed in the capital Naypyidaw after pro-democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi's party secured a majority in its historic election. The lower house met for what could be the final session of the current parliament after the National League for Democracy, or NLD, won the country's landmark election by a landslide, sweeping out much of the military old guard. The parliament was seen discussing several bills in progress. With only 3 seats in the bicameral parliament yet to be declared, the victory allows the NLD to form the next government after years of disenfranchisement under the military's 1962 to 2011 rule. The NLD has so far won about 80% of the votes in the bicameral parliament. On to other stories. The flow of migrants arriving on rickety boats to the Greek islands has continued unabated, including on the small island of Leros, where one of the parachuting suspects was registered and fingerprinted last month. Greece identified the man on Sunday as 25-year-old Ahmad al-Mohammad from the northwestern Syrian city of Idlib, and said he arrived alongside 198 refugees on a boat from Turkey and was processed on the southern Aegean island on October 3rd. After Leros, al-Mohammad was registered again at the border between Macedonia and Serbia, and on October 8th, arriving in Croatia. He then traveled through Hungary and Austria. His passport was found on Friday, November 13th, outside the Stade de France, near the body of a gunman. His role in the carnage that left 129 people dead has fueled speculation that Islamic State took advantage of a recent wave of refugees fleeing Syria to slip militants into Europe. The Greek Coast Guard on Monday continued to patrol the waters and bring stranded migrants to port to be identified and registered. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Newsline. If you have any comments or suggestions, then do feel free to email them to us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook by typing in NNT, and do take the time to check out our website at thainews.prd.go.th/en. We're going to say goodbye with footage of a light show at Copenhagen's Tivoli Amusement Park. For Newsline, I'm Sandra Hanut Saha. Have a spectacular day. Sawadee ka.